Hello, this is going to be my first official YouTube video because all I've done so far are vlogs, and I wanted to record just a little video of things that I've learned as a new mom and things that I learned throughout my pregnancy. An important thing that I learned fairly early in my pregnancy is to try not to feel guilty when having to take Declactin. It is a anti-nausea medication the doctor prescribes for you. During my first trimester, I ended up losing 15 pounds from all the morning or all day sickness for me. I was hesitant to take this pill because I've always been told don't take anything if you can avoid it, it's healthier for the baby. But the doctor ended up telling me that losing all this weight is actually worse for the baby than the actual pill itself, which has proven to have no issues with the baby. So I did end up taking it a little bit too late for my liking. I suffered for too long. I lost a ton of weight. I was sick the entire pregnancy, but this made me be able to at least keep food down. Now this is something that I did, but I felt guilty about doing the entire pregnancy. I documented my bump. I took photos of my adorable baby bump because it was so adorable. Memories fade so quickly. My baby is 5 months old and I cannot even remember what it was like to be pregnant and to have her inside of me. So I wanted at least the photos to prove she was in there. Got a little bit of hate every now and then. Oh my goodness, all she does is post pictures of her belly. I'm pregnant. It's my Instagram. It's my Facebook. Unfollow or unfriend if you don't like it, because it is really fun to look back at and reminisce and give me baby fever all over again. Something that I didn't need and luckily didn't end up buying was a pregnancy pillow. I was told, oh, these will save your lives, those big U-shaped ones that you form around your body and your back. I actually borrowed a friend's and I tried it out a couple nights. I hated it. It was really firm, maybe it was just this specific one, but I couldn't manipulate it around the bump the way that I wanted to, so I just took a ton, like 7 or 8 regular pillows, softer ones, and I just tucked them underneath where I wanted them to be, and I could sleep comfortably until I had to pee again in like less than an hour. As a huge worrywart, I wanted to know everything that could go wrong, so I would Google everything, every symptom I had, every feeling I felt, everything. Even if I didn't have the symptom, I wanted to know about it. This was a bad idea. Google diagnoses you with cancer within like 30 seconds. So before I knew it, I had cancer. No. I ended up Googling, why does my baby have hiccups every day? The result that I got from Google was that the baby has a true knot in the cord, which can be fatal. And I was worried about it the entire pregnancy. When delivering my baby, I was worried that this true knot was going to kill her. Google is just, you know, my worst nightmare. I did not know that membrane sweeps even existed before I was pregnant. I got to the unbearable point of pregnancy. I was not sleeping at all. I was still sick. I was huge. So obviously I hit up Google and I was like, what can I do to naturally induce labor? And I found a whole bunch of ideas. Evening primrose oil, I tried that, and red raspberry leaf tea, something the doctor can do called a membrane sweep. Worked out to be the most effective. I was 38 weeks pregnant, went in for my regular doctor's appointment. I asked him, can you sweep my membranes? Because he had checked my dilation. I was 2 centimeters at that point. I was having Braxton Hicks all the time. Things were moving along just really slowly. So he did a membrane sweep. Very uncomfortable. I don't even know medically what they do. It's just supposed to stretch your cervix to make it easier to go into labor. And 48 hours later, my water broke. It was suggested when I was, newly pregnant not to find out the gender of the baby. For me, that is almost impossible. I am a control freak. I want to know everything. I want to control everything. That was just the craziest thought to me, is to not find out when there are ways to find out. But surprisingly, I didn't end up finding out, and it was the best thing that I could have done. I was incredibly surprised because throughout the whole pregnancy, I thought I was having a boy. No doubt about it. I had my mother's intuition that I was having a boy. Turned out to be so wrong. As a daughter. And I was shocked that I was not in the slightest disappointed because she was healthy and gorgeous and perfect. Another reason I wouldn't suggest finding out the sex of the baby is if it's your second baby. Having a girl already, I would obviously prefer to have a boy now. But if I wait all the way until delivery and they place another healthy baby girl on my lap, I am not going to be sad at all. So that's pretty much all that I remember, at least from pregnancy. It is 5 months later and I have forgotten a lot, and I'm telling myself for my next pregnancy, remember all those things. So now I'm going to go into the things that I've learned being a new mom. Bailey, my daughter, is 5 months old now, and these are some things that I wish I would have been told. So this starts off right at the hospital. Right after I delivered my daughter, it was 12:02 a.m. when she decided to come. So I had the entire night with her after everybody left around 1 a.m. It was time to go to bed. I had just had her 58 minutes ago. Yeah, right, like I'm gonna put her down. I held her all night. She was not fussy. There was no reason for me to be holding her the entire night. I just wanted to hold her and look at her and cuddle her and kiss her, but I paid the price the next night. My milk hadn't come in yet, and she had all of a sudden gotten hungry. They say babies get hungry after 24 hours of life. Midnight on day 2, she got hungry. My milk wasn't in yet. So we were nursing every 5 minutes. This is mainly for people who do not want to supplement with formula. So I nursed every 5 minutes, and it was all colostrum until my milk came in the next day. But I guarantee you that night I did not sleep a wink. I was exhausted, and I should have got my sleep from the night before after I had her, because I was pooped from having her. Having a baby is no easy job. This is for when the baby is a couple weeks old. I learned the hard way not to constantly hold the baby. She was in my arms 24/7. If it wasn't my arms, it was my husband's arms. She got so used to it that it became hard to even put her down at all. I couldn't get anything done. She wouldn't nap on her own. She was sleeping in our bed on my chest, and I am a really light sleeper, so I did not sleep probably at all for the first couple weeks. I was a zombie. After 1 month of little to no sleep, I decided to make a change. I decided to move her into her own crib. Most people would just go to a bassinet by the bedside, but I thought, this transition's already going to be hard enough. It just meant getting up more in the night to go to her rather than having her on my bedside in the bassinet. I was okay with it. So she went into her crib. It was a couple of really rough nights, but I'm glad I did it because she grew so fast. She would have been out of her bassinet in probably another month. I think for my next baby I will do it even sooner because it's completely safe for the baby to sleep in their crib. It's just the fact of mom having to get up and go to the other room more often to nurse. I should mention that the only thing that kept me part way sane while having her sleep away from me was the baby monitor that we were gifted. It's not cheap, it's about $300, this monitor. I have fear of SIDS, of course, as every mother does. This monitor, right here, Bailey's down for a nap right now, it has a little motion sensor here. It's a pad that goes underneath her crib, and it detects her heartbeat and her breathing. So if she's not breathing for whatever reason for 15 seconds, it sends off an alarm to both this parental unit and the unit in her room. It'll send off a beep to wake her up. 20 seconds goes by, it'll send off a really loud alarm. So this thing will start beeping, hers will start beeping like crazy. It'll wake you up in a heartbeat. Go in and see what's going on, if it's suffocation or anything like that. Preventable, I wanted to know and be able to prevent it. So this thing has saved my life. I'm able to sleep soundly knowing that something will go off if she's not there. I was lucky enough to be given a whole ton of clothes from my sister-in-law, and for some reason I thought I needed more clothes. But realistically, she has not worn more than half of her clothing, and it's such a shame. I feel like a hoarder. Realistically, you can go with probably 12 PJs, 12 onesies, and all that because of how much they spit up. You're going to be doing laundry at least weekly for the burp cloths. I know I ran out of burp cloths way before clothes. There's no need to have, 30 onesies and 50 sets of PJs. Something that I underestimated was how quickly babies grow and gain weight in the first few months. I went out after having a girl and bought a ton of adorable newborn outfits. She was probably in them for 3 weeks. Then she went to 0 to 3 outfits, and she was probably in those for like a month. Then she went to 3 to 6 month outfits, in those for 2 months maybe, and she's been in like 6 to 9 plus, some even 9+ months for like a month now. Something that you cannot have enough of is bibs and burp cloths. Babies spit up so much And you don't want to be changing their outfit every 5 minutes, so I just throw a bib on her. If she spits up, it goes on the bib. Take the bib off, replace the bib. I would say on a day I go through 5 or 6 bibs. Burp cloths, 2 or 3. That is more necessary than clothes itself. Something that I learned recently is that a soother is more hindering than it is helpful. At the beginning, I was like, oh, this soother is amazing. She can finally fall asleep with something other than my boob in her mouth. I thought it was the best thing ever invented. And then she would wake up at least every 30 minutes crying because the soother had fallen out of her mouth and I had to go back in and put it in her mouth. And that was an endless cycle of every 30 minutes going in to give her her soother because she would not sleep without it. She didn't know how to. So 2 weeks ago, we cut the soother out cold turkey and she has learned to fall asleep on her own. She has never slept better. She has 1 to 2 hour naps, sometimes 2.5 hour naps during the day. No soother. She falls asleep at night within 2 minutes. What I've given her is this little blanket that has a bare, head and then the blanket. She holds on to that, plays with it, cuddles with it. Something she can find in her crib without me being in there. The soother, no doubt she wouldn't be able to find it. Another thing that's important to know about a newborn and as your baby grows is the amount of time that they should be awake in between sleeping. I thought that keeping the baby up until 11 was the best to do. 11 p.m. was the best to do because they would sleep longer and I'd get to sleep in. That did not work at all. Around 7 o'clock in the evening, she would get incredibly fussy. I later found out 7 o'clock is when she should be going down for bed, and that's why she started getting so fussy. So once we moved her bedtime to 7 p.m., she was so much happier throughout the day and ended up sleeping 12 hours once I got her off the soother. Another very important thing that I learned was how to notice when she is tired by looking for her sleep signals. She would start rubbing her eyes, she would get irritable, she'd start crying, she'd yawn. Once I started putting her down while these were starting to happen, she went to sleep right away, rather than waiting for her to get overtired. When the screaming happens, it's a lot harder to settle an overtired baby than a perfectly tired baby. So now I'm going to list some things that I found I did not need, some items that I purchased for, either pregnancy or for the baby, and I turned out not using them at all, or they weren't as helpful as I thought they would have been, kind of a waste of money. So the first thing is a vibrating chair. What I found with the vibrating chair is that it didn't vibrate enough. Like, I could hardly feel it when I was touching it. I don't think it did anything for her. When I put her in it, all she did was end up wiggling herself down and almost off of the chair. An exerciser, so it's one of those circle things that the baby sits in and they're surrounded by toys. Baby has to be old enough to be in this exerciser, which means holding their head up on their own. By the time Bailey was holding her head up on her own, she did not want to be confined. She didn't want to be held. She didn't want to be sitting in anything confined. She wanted to be laying out on a mat with all of her toys surrounding her so she could choose what she wanted. Once we put her in that exerciser, all that would do was make her mad. Baby shoes are completely unnecessary until the baby is walking, in my personal opinion. I am a more comfort girl than style, and her baby shoes, she would always kick off. They are completely adorable, and I can understand them for maybe a photo, but not practical. Another thing I dislike, two-piece outfits. At this age, I'm holding her, I'm nursing her. That little one, her top would wiggle its way up and her stomach would be all out, and it's just so much easier in a onesie. Nipple cream was unnecessary for me personally, because it's no surprise when you have a baby for the first time, you've never had anything nurse from your boob, I hope, you would try something like a nipple cream. And that's what I did when they cracked and bled and all that fun stuff. And I found no difference with it. I gave it a couple tries and I didn't notice any difference, and it was more of a pain to put on than anything. It got all over my nursing bras and all over her face and made her all greasy. Eventually my nipples became numb on their own. For some reason, when I was pregnant, I thought I needed a bazillion baby bottles, even though in my mind it was always the plan to exclusively breastfeed. I don't need to be away from her for that long. Realistically, I could have got away with a single baby bottle, but for some reason I have like 30. They can use that one bottle and we can wash it and use it for the next time. Why would I need 3 bottles filled? It's just unrealistic. This is something that I bought for the sake of other people around me. I bought a nursing cover. I have learned 5 months after having her, I am a no shame public breastfeeder. It's not like I, whip out my entire boob and show everyone my nipple. I'll cover it until, it's in her mouth. But I thought the hassle of dealing with the nursing cover was just too much to deal with. If people don't like it, they can look away. I should not be shamed for giving my daughter the best nutrients possible. And if you have a problem with it, then I am so sorry for you. But I'm not dealing with the cover, and she does not like eating underneath the cover. Who does? Do you want to eat with a blanket on your head? So these are some things that I found that we could not live without with a new baby. The first thing is some form of baby carrier or wrap while they're little. Wearing her was so much more comfortable, and she was so much happier in a wrap. So we actually had the Moby wrap, which we used. Proved to be better off being used at home because of the long straps and how difficult it is to wrap when you're on the go. I didn't want the straps touching the dirty ground, so I would just use it at home in the evening when she was fussy and we were keeping her up too late. Another type of carrier that we had was the Snuggly, which is for babies like less than 15 pounds. So when she was little, it worked really well. It's a clip one, so it worked for going out. Easy to clip, so easy to wear. She liked it. Eventually she could forward face in it, and she wanted to see everything that was going on in the mall or the grocery store. As she got bigger, we found that we needed a sturdier one with some back support because she got heavy pretty quick. She's in like the 75th percentile for her weight. We got the Baby Bjorn wrap, if that's how you say it. She likes it. She likes the forward facing. She's sick of looking at my face, so she looks forward and watches the world go by. A mirror is something that we found incredibly helpful for her, mainly for her diaper changes. We got a diaper changing table with a mirror on it. Bailey would just stare at herself for hours if we let her. It made changing her diaper really easy. She didn't fuss, she didn't complain at all. And we found a mirror that we could put by her playmat. She'd sit on that playmat for hours and just stare at herself. A baby swing is something that can be put on either of these lists as a must or a must not have. I don't know. She used it for maybe 20 minutes at a time, max. She was not one of those babies that wanted to fall asleep in the swing. I would usually use it if no one was home and I needed to shower. That was pretty much it. So we spent too much money on something that we used very little. Up until the last month, we were using this summer bath seat from the brand Summer, and it's just this propped up seat that she sits in. It's really easy to bath her in. I found it was easier actually to have her in that bath seat while I showered. She would just stare up at me while I showered. She'd sit in this bath seat getting sprinkled with water. It was adorable. So that is a must-have. Those are pretty cheap. I think they're like $20–30 at Toys R Us. She actually outgrew it because she got so tall so quick that she could, roll off that seat, and that's no longer safe. So we had to get a big tub for her. After the first month, when we were making the transition from our bed into her crib, she would not sleep longer than 5 minutes if something wasn't touching her, mainly me. So I tried a swaddle. I didn't ever really like the blanket swaddles. It was too much work to tuck and wrap and whatever, so we found one that zips and has the Velcro. I think it's from Halo. So that worked really well for the first couple months, and then she got too tall for it because she's off the charts for her height. So once that hit, we cut off the feet part and stuck her feet through the little blanket of that swaddle. That worked for, a couple more days. I actually purchased a baby Merlin's Magic sleep suit online. Not cheap, it's about 50 bucks. I bought it in a neutral color so I could use it for my next child. And that made the swaddle transition so much easier. We just put her in it. She kind of looks like a starfish. It's a zip-up suit. It looks like a snowsuit. It's pretty much just like a blanket, but thicker. You zip her into it, and it muffles that falling reflex that babies have that ends up waking them up. So we found that to be really helpful. You're supposed to transition the baby out of this sleep suit once they start rolling in both directions. Bailey's been rolling for about a week now, all over the room, every which way. She hasn't figured out how to do it with her sleep suit on. Once she does, we're going to have to make that terrifying transition out of the suit to probably nothing at all. A Jolly Jumper is Bailey's current favorite thing. I can put her in that Jolly Jumper and get at least a good half an hour of chores done or anything that I need to have done, maybe eat dinner. That's usually when we use it. She'll just jump happily. smile and laugh and look around. She's at the level of the dogs, so she likes watching them play, and they come up and give her little kisses. So before Bailey was able to roll around, we needed something that she could play with on the floor. So we got a playmat that has those U-shaped rods that cross, and they have dangly toys. Once she was laying on her back, she could reach for the toys. Eventually she would hold on to the toys and put them in their mouth. That playmat was only useful while she was staying on her back. As soon as she started rolling over to her front, she would be stopped by these the U-shaped things and wouldn't be able to complete her roll, and she would get really angry. So now that we are in the teething stage, her favorite toy has turned out to be the Sophie the giraffe. Everyone knows this toy. It's famous, it's not cheap, it's like $27 for a giraffe toy. It's made of rubber. It looks very similar to a dog's chew toy. It's made from an all-natural rubber. It's the perfect texture for her, perfect softness. It's not too hard that if it slips and hits her, she gets mad, which has proven to be an issue with some other toys. I was given a Bumbo from my sister-in-law, luckily a pink one, and it has proven to be useful mainly only for at restaurants. She just wants to be in on the action, and if I'm eating, I'm not able to hold her and eat unless it's a one-handed food. So we would put her in the Bumbo, sit her on the table or, you know, on the bench of the booth, and she can see what's going on. Other than that, we don't really use it at home. She just wants to roam free. I am very thankful for my mother-in-law who got me an incredible diaper bag. The one that she got me, it has the front section you unzip and it folds out a change table area. I'm a germaphobe. I don't want to put her on the dirty plastic change table in the washrooms or even on a dirty counter. So this way, put the diaper bag down, I fold out that change pad and I put her on that. I can remove that section of it and throw it in the wash. A noise machine. So it's just this little white machine that has a speaker on it that plays a bunch of different sounds. We usually play it all night. It plays the ocean sound, just a calming sound. It's really helpful for nap time so that the dogs don't end up waking her up. It kind of drowns out any household noise that goes on. It also has a projector that projects from this machine onto the ceiling above where she is, so she can watch this moving scene. As soon as we put her in her room and turn on this noise machine, she knows it's bedtime. Something similar to the noise machine is a sleep sheep. It's a stuffed animal with a little speaker box inside the stuffed animal. We usually use it when we are not at home and we need her to nap. So at my dad's house, we've got a playpen set up and I've got that noise, you know, the sleep sheep there to play the ocean sound. So it kind of mimics as much as I can her nursery sound, and she knows that it's okay to fall asleep even though she's not in her crib. So the last thing that I found to be useful is a car seat cover. When she was a newborn, I would be draping these like burp cloths over top of her, or a blanket. It got windy and the wind would blow the blanket and it would hit Bailey. She'd wake up if she was sleeping, or it would get too cold and she'd cry if we were out for any sort of walk. So I got a car seat cover. It's super simple. It's like a blanket with two little hooks on it that hook onto her car seat handle and covers the entire car seat. She can sleep on the go. Weather elements won't wake her up. I got it from Car Seat Canopy. So that pretty much sums up my first video. I don't know if I'll do more of these. I just wanted to record it because I've found these videos to be helpful. When I was pregnant and a new mom, I watched a ton of other people's YouTube videos of their suggestions. So if any of this helps anybody out there, you know, bonus. Sorry if this video is all over the place. This is out of my element. I don't normally do these type of videos. I just recently started vlogging just to record all the adorable moments. Subscribe to my channel and you will see all of our daily vlogs. I will see you guys later. Bye.